Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I'm back off being joined once again by Jimmy, Jake, and like always, Fluff.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, y'all?
What's up, people?
And today's matchup is, you can see, it's an untapped match because both me, Jake, and Fluff are currently part of the Rising Phoenix Odyssey tournament, which is a tournament with a bunch of other YouTubers. I did not catch who your opponent was from, actually, Jake. I will put that.
He's playing with the channel The Doods.
The Doods, okay. And their link is down below. Feel free to click them, give them some love as well. Jake has brought King Cole to his first round, and the way these work is that every round you play, you change decks. We've done this a couple times before in the past, and it is best of 3. This is the final match, right, for you all?
Right.
Without giving away what's going on prior, this is the last match. And your opponent is playing a take on Gotenks, which is blue, yellow, and black.
This is honestly one of the coolest decks I've seen in a while. So huge shout out to the Dudes. I had no idea what to expect. And this deck really opened my eyes to a lot of tech. And after this match, I feel like I'm better prepared for the future.
Nice. I will, before I let them take over the match and let Jake kind of go over what was happening, part of the screen is cut off. Some form of recording error unfortunately did occur. So I did make sure I left the life that you could see on the top and bottom on the right side of the screen so you know where their life throws are. You just can't see the drops of warp. But, Jake, take it away.
Pretty basic start for King Cold here. I know his deck kind of wants to go into like the more mid-rangey late game turns, like trying to apply as much pressure as I can without letting him either, so he could just gun things to the board. I did like Bancroft said, this is the final round of the best of 3. And I have experienced the explosive capability of this deck, and I don't want to go into that naked like I had in the past. So here I'm just trying to like build my hand as much as I can. Really kind of just defend and build markers on my unison and try and pressure my opponent while without spending too many cards.
Now, I will want to bump in real quick. I know King Cole likes playing a lot of field cards, which are extra cards. I'm looking at this guy's hand right now, and that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Terrible matchup for King Cold, we will just say. Every time I play a field, the first time a turn, he's going to activate that,
The auto, yeah.
Activate that auto. A little bit of a misplay with that King Cold, I just noticed. I don't get the reduction during my turn, so you can't use it to anti-floodgate that way. But I don't know why we didn't catch that at the time. It was like
Yeah, and sometimes these games go weird because everyone's in different time zones. So it just gets kind of odd. So there are some often misplays. And honestly, I got to think that misplay hurts you more than it helps you. Just because, like, King Cold is not really that messed up because you can tap your field cards.
Yeah. Robotic cost is not a huge deal.
Right. But you basically just loaded another negate back in his hand, which is the bigger issue afoot.
Yeah, the great thing about this Gotenks deck and the leader itself is that it's such a generically good leader. Like, I think when it first dropped, we were calling it like Diet Yellow Broly.
Yeah.
And it's because you can just run anything in it, just like the OG Yellow Broly deck. And you can see here he's running, the new Bojack cards, Power of the Super Saiyan, plus he just dropped a Saiyan Scions into his energy. So like we said, this was the final round. I was spectating Jake throughout this event, and the first time he played any of these cards, I was just like racking my brain on what he could possibly do, because like either this is like some absolute jank or like this deck's going to be really legit.
Yeah,
and me and Jake were both like thoroughly impressed.
In formats that are mid to late game, more control oriented, the Gotenks later from set 10 is just a powerhouse because of how powerful its draw on extra card activation is. So games that go longer, this leader just gains more and more value as time goes along in a game. So in the format we just kind of came out of, where decks wanted to go fast in the game on turn 2, turn 3, this leader is not nearly as valuable. But in games where you want to go to turn 5, 6, where there are a lot of extra cards in play, this leader is super relevant.
Yeah. King Cold, we're playing 25, 26 extra cards on average.
Yep.
It's just just
Gotenks is an optional, right? The auto?
The draw?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I think it is optional.
It could be a good way to mill your opponent out if it wasn't.
cards they draw their entire deck. I feel like they'll just kill you before that happens.
It's quite possible.
Yeah, after this match in particular, like we're all sitting in a chat. I think it was me, Jake, and Scotty trying to like rack our brain on how do you beat this matchup, because you give them so much advantage from the advantage that you gain off of your fields. And the mill I did, it did come up at one point, because if I remember correctly, he's pretty low in deck space, you know.
Yeah, just sideboard into the Oceanuses, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind of, your fields are essential to your strategy, but maybe, come down on the number of extra cards, like only play your 4 Royal Supremacy, and then other than that, you switch into like just the 4 Topo Boos, and then run cards that are going to punish once he commits and establishes the field. And I feel like that's the way that you have to handle this match. Now, not knowing the deck and not having played against it, that's just kind of my guess moving forward.
I mean, it's solid advice. This you just kind of have to. You're gonna give them some advantage, but maybe tune your game as much out of their lane as you.
Right. You know that he wants you to play an extra card every turn, and you want to play an extra card on your turn because you get advantage out of the fields. But on your opponent's turn, cut down the number of extra cards used, so at least they don't get the extra draw during that turn as well.
Yeah. 10 cards to 7 cards. I'm trying to stabilize just by pressuring, but he's more than happy to pick up the life and go about his day.
You're actually doing a really good job, because when the game kind of first started, it quickly got, I think he was at somewhere like 11 or 12 cards, and you were at like 6. So you are changing the pace. He has established that Bojack now, so now he can be a little bit more careless with how he does his energy plays. But you're getting up to where you're about to go into turn 5. And it really has got to be concerning for him if you do happen to be running the 5-drop Boo. I do see, is that your secret rare in hand there? Yeah. So, you can use this. Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't seen him use Unison yet, except for the Saiyan Scions. So, how useful was that Unison overall in this matchup?
So he's going to play one here, and he's forced to, or no, he can swing with it, but it's not going to give him much.
Yeah, and it's... Or go on, Jake, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, if he cracks it after this, he can't really gain too much advantage off of it. And I'm just going to clones as well. I feel like I need the threat of the triple strike on his turn to try and end the game. So, I'm just going to negate this attack as well, and hopefully he's done for the turn.
Yeah, I think you're definitely doing everything that you've got and everything that you can. And of course, we see here he brings out the one Gogeta, or one Vegeta, one Goku. And so, assumedly, there's a Gogeta package in there, which, if I had to guess, is the 8-drop forwarding. Because he's only charged one black. So, I mean, I guess he could be playing the SS3 forwarding.
He runs both, which is why I'm pretty charismatic loaded behind it so heavily, just so I could respond to it.
At least the 6-drop.
Right.
Now, the 6-drop can't be played out of targets on the field. That's the 8-drop, right?
Yeah, 8-drop
Right, but
targets drop area and field, and then the 6-drop SS3 thwarting the Dark Empire targets cards in your hand and warp.
Yeah, so at least he's telegraphing that he's trying to set up for the 8-drop here. So Jake has an opportunity to prepare for it. So he's not completely caught off guard by it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to have been able to get that Royal Supremacy off the top,
Yeah.
but
Royal Supremacy would have cleaned that up very nicely.
Yeah. And I think I remember my anticipated onslaught proc, but who knows? Yeah, I do. We'll just kill the Vegeta.
Yeah, it's really weird. It is really weird to see a deck out-resource King Cold, because King Cold is just such a fierce resource generator.
I just think the being able to draw a card every time I activate an extra card just lets you keep pace. And then a lot of his cards he's playing, draw a card, or whenever he pitches a card with Bojack, he's drawing a card. So, his hand stayed around 10 cards the entire game, no matter what I do. Would have been nice to see my Zamasu deity.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
I think one of the major strengths of the new Black Xeno Gogeta package is that it's easy and difficult to telegraph what you're doing at any point, because it's like, okay, you comboed off the 1-drop Goku. That can mean he's trying to set up for an Overwhelm so that he can have the Goku and Vegeta and the Warp to fuse on, his next turn. Or maybe he's wanting to fill up the drop area so that he can tap 4 and play the big 8-drop thwarting. So you have to rack your brain on what play they're trying to go for. And while it's very simple and it leads to one of two destinations, if you make the wrong decision on your turn responding to that, you could lose the game because of it.
Yeah. I really do feel like the 8-drop forwarding the Dark Empire is one of those cards that just has the ability to warp the entire format around that card.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're either running it or running outs to it, which makes a lot of cards a lot more viable than they had in the past. And unfortunately, that's one of the kind of weak spots to Green, is Green has a lot of trouble responding to one of those big 8-drops coming in.
No. We can deal with that all day. But once you get into the 8-drop range, there's not a lot Green has, at least at the counterplay speed, to respond to it.
Now, if it comes back to your turn, you have a lot of great ways to take care of it.
It's just living that long.
It's just living through it, but responding to it is completely different.
And honestly, you see these Topo Boos in my hand here. I honestly feel like the existence of that thwarting in this matchup makes this Boo kind of hard to play. And see, here's the Kai, which is just huge. Blows me out completely here.
Oh.
Yeah.
Gosh. Yeah, that Kai in there is sick.
Yeah, I really
Especially
like that
because
secret rare.
You lose so much here.
Yeah. Pretty rough. I'm just removing the Boo from the game.
Yeah, that's a lot.
See, as I'm just down talking the Topo Boo, it kind of saves me here. But with with SS4 thwarting, you have to discard a card and play this, and then thwarting's going to rip 2 more cards out of your hand, and then potentially warp this from the field with its auto. So you could just -4 to put them under a, in some matchups, mildly annoying persistent effect. Like, my opponent can very clearly, with 10 cards, attack through this if he wants to, and probably win the game.
Yeah. Depending on what the life gets are on your end, like, you don't have a unison set up. I think you were near tapped out.
I had a lot of open energy.
You did have open energy,
okay. But I had free stuff like Royal Supremacy, but not enough.
Yeah, also Paraga Super Combo drawing you into the Homicidal Clones. Could pay 2 for that, put out a blocker. So you would have had a very good defensive path there if they decided to push, but still probably could have emptied your hand, and they would still probably have card advantage over you at the end of it.
I really like that he is generating a lot of branching threats on you here. And it's really put you in a bad position where, like, you've kind of had to pick and choose the battles here, because in a lot of instances, when Bardock hits the field, Bardock is instantly gone. But those have kind of stuck around to the point that he has 3 on field right now.
Yeah.
And that is crazy, especially against green, because it is so respondable. But he's put you up against so many other little things, like here and there, that your resources have just been baited. Now, again, referring to the ability to just clear the field on green's end, that's fantastic.
Yeah, once it comes back to your turn, you're golden. It's just surviving.
Yeah. Now, so what is he at? He's at 4 life, and you're at 3?
Yeah.
Ooh. So you discarded your Champa there, or your Kai, rather.
Right.
What was the motivator there to dropping that over the other unison in it?
So, if he spends his turn clearing the unison, and then it comes back to me. If he does play the SS4 thwarting, it'll be in active mode at the start of my turn, and I can get around the can't be KO'd in rest mode clause just by replacing my unison with another and wiping the board again.
Yeah, that's a good distinction to make. That if they choose to go on ahead and deliver the 3 attacks
to the
unison off the thwarting, does his effect restand him at the end of the turn?
Yes.
Okay, so he will still be inactive no matter what.
Right. So you can always respond with the Agents of Destruction unison.
Yeah.
But if he points all 3 attacks at my leader, I'm probably dead anyway, and I'm tapped out, so that 10k combo power isn't going to mean anything, which is why the Kai went to the warp.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. I was just curious.
No, it's a fair question.
Those
Especially
are
for me, because you guys know how much I love that card.
Yeah. I mean, it's something to consider here. And you have to push for the Bardock here. I'm assuming that you feel like if you don't, you're dead either way.
Right.
But he's got that massive hand. I mean, I think he's sitting on 11 cards in hand right now.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot I can do here. I pretty much know I'm dead. But I told Jimmy, because he was spectating, I was like, I'm at least going to make him do it, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, and you never know in these situations, especially like in King Cold, where you run so many fields. You never know if your opponent's hand is just brick with fields or not. While they might have a big scary hand, you know, a single 20k attack could win the game because they can't combo any cards.
Yep.
Yeah, if a King Cold player has 12 cards in hand, 5 of them are probably extra cards.
Yeah.
And another 1 to 2 of them are probably a 10k combo.
Right.
Of some kind, or unison. Right. So, yeah, that's a very, very, very valid point.
But in this case, we haven't seen him play many extra cards throughout the entire match, so it's either his hand is flooded with them that he hasn't used yet, or he just doesn't run any, and you sometimes just have to take that gamble. And I think that was the best choice you had there, because it was either die trying or never know, which matters greatly.
Getting a super combo off of that life is clutch too.
Huge.
Because now you're able to stop 2 attacks, 1 to negate, 1 with the block. I think that Trunks is single. Are you attempting to take it?
Title clones, I think.
Is that Trunk single attack, isn't it, or a double strike?
It's single.
Single.
Is there a reason why you didn't want to attempt to take it?
1.
Yeah, it would just been 1 damage to you.
Yeah, probably. So here I make kind of a blunder. So that when SS3 swings, and my assumption is that his auto procs and warps my guy, blocker procs because it's impending, change exists and battle ends. But the downside of having a judge spectating you that way.
Yeah.
And actually SS3 and I die with a Royal Supremacy in hand to that 35k double strike.
Yeah. So even if you were to negate, the
Like that
auto still would have
interaction.
proc.
Yeah.
Right.
And he could
Blocker's impending, but it just doesn't get to resolve.
Correct. And if I'm correct, that's still, it's not dual attack that Gogeta, but he could pay 1 right to play the 2 other tokens to the board.
No, that was thwarting the Dark Empire.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
And then
a
you just put
double
a
strike
super
that
on it.
warps on swing. Yeah. That list was really spicy. I really like that list. It was very
huge
surprising. And it has a massive pivot strategy from what we saw there, where it kind of starts the game like standard yellow and then ends strong like a black deck.
Yeah. Really, really cool. One of the more interesting decks I've played against in a long time.
So
Yeah.
with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to check out the Doods, right?
Right. Huge shout out to them.
They're down below in the link. Click them. Show them the love as well. Hope you all enjoyed today's matchup as much as Jake did. With that being said, keep in mind, there's videos on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
Hope you enjoyed it more than Jake did. Though maybe Jake had fun. I don't know. I wasn't there for that. But anyway, 4 floating videos here. Click on one of them. Maybe it's something that you've seen. Or if you're looking on mobile, there's no floating videos here, and I sound like an idiot. Read your cards. Know your plays. Let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. And as always, Fluff out.